Hey, what's up? Yo, this is Derek, and welcome to the DC Stewart Show podcast on a Sunday night while the game seven is being played out in OKC. We're going to be covering that game extensively tonight. I actually have it on my TV right in front of me, so we'll be reporting throughout the stream that the game, what's going on with the game. It's still got two halves, two quarters to go. Right now, we're into the second quarter, I believe. So we'll be moving into halftime. Then we'll have a short recess, and then we'll cover third and fourth quarters, and then we'll do an after game recap on who was, more advantaged as far as the advantage goes to either team. It looks like Tyrese Halliburton has been injured. He is not returning to the game. So, Indiana, if they're going to pull this off, they're going to have to pull this off on their own. I mean, basically, they're going to have to do it without Halliburton tonight. I want to thank you for joining us as well on YouTube. And we are actually streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. So, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Keep that subscription level up because we're hitting on these live streams. We're going to be moving to two a week. So, right now, we're doing basically one a week. And we'll probably be doing them on the weekend because that's the best time to do them as far as I can see it. So, we are here, and I just want to say that I'm going to make a prediction tonight. I'm going to make a bold prediction tonight. I've been going with Indiana throughout this series, and I'm not giving up on Indiana, by the way. I think Indiana is going to have
Oh my
a
goodness.
good game in the third and fourth quarter, and I think they're going to pull this thing out. Now,
And they
OKC
still
is
gonna
looking
lose.
like they look like OKC, of course, so we don't have to worry about that.
Hmm.
But what OKC has to worry about is Indiana is playing for Tyrese Halliburton. And so that's a whole nother subject in itself. When you're playing for
Purpose.
one of your guys have been injured and one of your teammates have been injured and you're trying to play to bring this thing home for him, that would be the biggest gift for him that you can deliver to him if they can pull this game out tonight. So I just wanted to cover that. Um, Once again, thank you for joining us. And I want to introduce my co host, Isaiah. He's looking pretty damn sharp again tonight with his hat. I'm gonna have to compliment him on each night he wear a hat because he's doing it the right way. So hat and shirt matches and everything else. And of course, we got our basketball guru here, Najee. And I'm gonna introduce you to him as well. We're gonna cover this game. We're gonna cover the Lakers being purchased by Mark Walter, who's the current owner of the Dodgers tonight. So you definitely want to stay tuned to that one. We're going to be talking about Kevin Durant, which is a blockbuster trade today, going to Houston for two players going to Phoenix. And Dylan Brooks is one of those players going to Phoenix, by the way. So Brooks he's been with Memphis for quite some time. Then he moved over to Houston, and now he's moving on into to Phoenix. So Najee will be able to break all of that down for us. Let me introduce you and bring in my co-hosts and my kinfolk. Let me rephrase that. These my kinfolk. They ain't my co-hosts. They my kinfolk. So let me bring in my first kinfolk, Isaiah, and see what he got to say right now.
Oh, this is the night, man. We all predicted this thing was going to go in the game, and no matter how it went, it was going to wind up being game seven. You called a couple games the first time you got something right in about 22 years. You called it, man. And I think that we still going to pull this thing off. Okay, this thing handled. Halliburton, which is, I always said that Ace was to win anything, they always had to go through Halliburton. Now it appears that he's down now, and I don't think they're going to pull it off without him. See, and because it's the catalyst of the team. So to show the character of the Indiana if they could win without him. And that's on it, baby.
hmm
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, you know what? We believe in what we believe in. And I'm just telling you, I'm sticking with Indiana for better or for worse. Indiana might come up short tonight. And if they do, they played a hell of a series against OKC. But I'm still confident that they still have that mojo left so that they can pull this thing off. Now, Najee thinks in a whole different way. So we'll see what Najee thinks. So, Najee, how are you doing? How was your weekend? And by the way, Happy belated birthday. I didn't get a chance to tell you that on your actual birthday. I wanted to, but you had just left, and I didn't get a chance to tell you that because, I would have sang a happy birthday song to you, but, I know we're a little bit older for that. But anyway, how you doing, brother?
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm doing great. I had a great weekend. Enjoyed myself with family, friends, and my girlfriend. We had a great weekend. We had a great weekend. Now we're going to finish it off with the NBA Finals for the OKC Thunder tonight because Tyrese Halliburton got hurt, but they was going to win it anyway. I predict they was going to win in Game 5 because I wanted them to win at home. But since Game 7 is at home, it
But
still
didn't
makes
I
sense for them to
predict game
win
seven?
at
Didn't I predict
home.
game seven, though? I
No,
told you a game
te-
seven.
technically you said Game 6 because you thought Pacers was
That's
going to win
true.
at home.
I said
That's what
six,
you
and
thought was
then I
going to
said
happen.
6 and 7
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
seven.
Mm-hmm. Technically, if we're going technical about stuff,
Well, one thing is for sure, one of them's got to lose tonight. Somebody's going to lose.
yeah,
Somebody got to
somebody,
go home tonight.
whoever loses, they lost the whole thing.
Listen, this game is tight.
Whoever
I don't
loses
care what
tonight, this is
anybody
it.
say right now. It's a one
Because
point difference.
Game Sevens
Listen,
don't happen often. Game Sevens do not happen
absolutely, and
often,
that's why I
and this is
say
what makes it great.
if Oklahoma City is going to get out in front of them, they need to get out in front of them ASAP. Because I'm gonna tell you, if this game stays close and stays tight throughout the third quarter after halftime into the fourth quarter, and Indiana can keep it 2 to 3 points, let's just say Indiana can keep it 6 to 8 points within reach. I think it's definitely a series that can go either way. I'm pretty sure
Nah,
that there's going to be
I
people
think
to say
I
it's
think the
not, but
Pacers had to go up front because the Pacers they don't have a finisher now. He's their go to finisher
right.
now. OKC they still got Shea. Shea can come. They can come back and win, or they can keep the game close. But he can finish the game for them. The Pacers don't have a finisher right now. Siakam only can do so much. He's just gonna keep them in the game.
Right. Well,
Yeah, but the
I'm
scariest part about that is so competitive. They trade this back and forth, man, and it's scary to think it could be this without Halliburton being in there. So, man, I'm keeping a
That's
close eye on
exactly
it
what
because
I'm trying to
it's
get at. That's
yeah,
you just proved my point, Isaiah. That if Halliburton is not in there and they have this thing at halftime, which it just I believe went into halftime right now, and I'm looking at Bob Myers, ex Golden State general manager, and Stephen A. Smith. I think it's a minute and 28 seconds before halftime, and it's a
Yeah, it is.
44-42 game. Indiana is actually winning it. So it's just sweet. It's seesawing back and forth. And when it does that, anything is possible. Now, basketball is a little bit different than football. I would say if football you keep it super close, you still have a good opportunity to win if the offense on the opposing team gets the ball last. But in basketball, it's just so quick
Mm-hmm.
to lose within seconds. It's like, a team to me in a comfortable lead needs to be out 12, between 12 and 20 points to be able to say, look, we're comfortably leading. We don't have to worry about nothing. And, we'll go from there. I just want to let our viewers know
No,
too that we
that's
will.
the old school thinking. The old school
That's the
thinking
old
is
school
a
thinking. Well,
12
I'm
point
old
lead
school,
because
brother.
you hit two, three threes, the game's already close again. You need a
and
25 to 30 point
A
lead
25
to
to
be
30 point lead.
comfortable.
I could
12
agree
is
with you with
nothing.
that. Yeah.
12 is nothing.
and I seen Halliburton hit two threes back when he was in there. So I think they're gonna be missing those type of going down the stretch. But one thing about a game here, you start looking at who's in your sideline with Rick Carlisle at sideline, and it's gonna have all added NBA player experience along with his coaching experience. OKC really got to buckle down and play hard in that fourth because just that experience alone with Rick Paul at the helm over there, it can make a difference, man. I'm telling you, it can make a huge difference at the end.
That's true. That's
As
true.
if you have
It
the
could come
personnel.
down to coaching. It could come down to strategy with coaching
No,
with this game,
it's gonna come down to personnel. It's gonna come down to personnel. I told you, coaching only can get you so far if you don't have the players there. And guess what? They don't have their best player, playmaker there, and finisher there. That's three keys that they're missing right now.
Right. And that's going to be pivotal. I mean, if you think about it, it's going to be pivotal Now it'd be very ideal for OKC to pull this game out, win it at home, be able to celebrate their trophy at home. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
They
But
ain't even
if
got to travel.
on the flip side of that, if Indiana pulls it off, it's just going to be a party tonight in OKC's little arena for a short time. Then it'll be a party on the airplane all the way
Mm.
back to
Yeah, but
Indianapolis, and then they'll
that's a
have a
huge
party
if. You see,
in Lucas Oil Field, or actually
That's a
not Lucas Oil
humongous
Field.
if.
I think Indiana plays
that's
in
a
their
beautiful
own
part of Game Seven.
auditorium.
That's the beautiful thing about Game Seven. When you win that thing at home, only thing you do is shower, clothes, man. But once you are
That's true.
on the team and win something, you got to jump on a plane and wait next day when all of that freaking adrenaline down a little bit. Unless you got some kind of that you're familiar with who already done anticipating on you and they have something for you. But it's not the same when you win. So I think OKC gonna be the
Not
one that
necessarily,
celebrate.
Isaiah. Not necessary. Because if you're in a boring
Don't bring up
franchise
that.
city, trust me, sometimes you'd rather win on the road. If you're a team like the Charlotte Hornets and you got to play the Heat in the finals, I think I would rather celebrate it in Miami than Charlotte.
Yeah, but
That's
you're
a
gonna
good
only
point,
be
Najee.
celebrating
That's a
with
really good
yourself.
point. Yeah.
Yeah,
DC on the
what you
flip side
mean?
of that, you're gonna be
They
celebrating alone because you're gonna be celebrating that you just beat. You might get your rear end kicked showing up at somebody's club. Just beat their team. And then they got some thugged
Well,
out
yeah.
fans. If they got some thugged out fans, they'll go up in their club and you just beat their team. So it
Seen it
ain't the
happen.
same.
I've seen it
Whether
happen in the
you
past.
it,
I
it
mean,
depends, yeah. Because if you listen to Jeff T, that played with the Milwaukee Bucks when Giannis won it. He said
yeah,
himself after they were so boring where they were at when they won it, he went
got,
back home and played video games. Who goes back home playing video games after winning a world championship? Because they were so boring in their city to do anything.
well, we
yeah.
spoke
I
about that earlier. We spoke about being on a franchise where you got a boring city, and that makes the game itself not as exciting when you got two big teams. Remember we were talking about New York being there because of all the fan base that New York,
mm,
all the celebrities that came out to the game, and then all of a sudden it was like when New York got knocked off. Remember how hyped the whole country was excited to see New York as far
sure.
as they went, and then it
Yep.
just seemed like it had a huge drop when they got beat. So now you got two teams that don't have a huge fan base and have that city really good nightlife like
Hmm.
Miami or Chicago or New York. Man, you got two teams that have
Or
a,
LA.
a night. Yeah, or LA for instance. These clubs cities close at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. So when by the time they take the clubs close. So that's why they'll prefer to play in a city that's jumping all night until 5, 6 a.m. Yep.
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't jump to 5 and 6 a.m. in Los Angeles. 2 o'clock in the morning is the cutoff time in Los Angeles, which is very unique and
Oh
different from
wow.
most major cities in
Wow.
this country. You know, like you say, Miami, you got New York, different cities overseas, like in Europe and South America. I mean, these people party until sunup. There was a time in Tokyo, Japan, that
Yeah.
I went, and we were in a nightclub downstairs. It was like underground somewhat. And I kid you not, I went there about 12 midnight. And when I came back up that next morning, the sun was out. I had to go back to the hotel room with the sun out. I couldn't believe I had been down there that long because, we were having such a good time. And I didn't even know the club had, pretty much rolled all the way through the night. If that would have been LA, they would have been saying last call for alcohol at 1:30,
No.
basically, giving you 30
Man,
minutes to
in
go and get your
Miami, they
drink on
don't
before
want
you
to.
get up out of there,
Yeah.
right?
Miami, the club get packed at. That's when they start to get packed
Oh,
at
for
one
sure.
o'clock. So people go out to
For
dinner at
sure.
11 o'clock. But dinner
Hmm.
and go out to the man, it's 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And the bottom line is that's the only way to party. I mean, you look at Studio 54 in New York City back in the 80s. That club was the hottest club on the planet, not just New York City in the United States. It was the hottest club on the planet. You're talking about fashion, Halston, and I mean, Versace, and you name them. I mean, everybody was in there. Rod Stewart. I mean, athletes, Joe Namath. I mean, all of these people were going to Studio 54 back in the day, and that's we need a system like that out here, but I highly doubt it because it's just been that way so long. I don't think things are going to change in Los Angeles anytime soon, when it comes to that. Um, so I want to ask you guys a question before we get this thing started. Let's get this party started.
I can see where you go.
And where is the party?
The
Where the party
is
at?
right here.
The party's right
OKC.
here, big tall. It's
OKC.
right here.
You
Right
sure
here.
about that?
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
OKC, baby.
Okay.
Getting
I'm
this
gonna have to
thing
get a
handled.
bullhorn next time. I'm gonna come on here like Jimmy Hart back from the WWE, and I'm gonna have a bullhorn. Where the party at, baby? And if I can't hear you, I'm gonna say I can't hear you.
OKC. OKC. DC is
Well,
wrong.
you
DC is wrong.
you can keep that going if you
Yes,
want. It ain't gonna
sir.
help you in the very end. It's not gonna help you. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all main guy hurt, man. Come on. Y'all main guy hurt. He did that on purpose. Ain't nothing wrong with him. He just couldn't handle
Now don't
We
start
let him
running
off
your
the
mouth
hook.
like that because the man legitimately got hurt. He was pounding the floor. He looked like he was
that don't
legitimately.
mean
You
that.
seen his leg reverberate. I mean, if you
Hey, you
look
know
at it up
what?
close and in slow motion, his leg basically looked like
Um,
a. They showing it right
That
now. As a
mean he
matter of
wasn't
fact,
be that mean he wasn't supposed to be playing. His
yeah.
leg been
hey,
hurting
man.
for a
Well,
week.
it's the
And
same thing
for
that
him
with
to do such a
Durant. I mean, when
standard
Durant had that Achilles
for him
problem,
for
and
him to be playing such a standard
He
for
like
such
that
a standard
DC.
move for him to hurt, that mean he was not
yeah,
supposed to be playing. And just like you want to use Durant as an excuse, guess what? That should have been a prime example why he should have set his behind down, but he didn't want to. He the best player, this the finals, and it's not guaranteed you ever go again. The Pacers haven't been to the finals
This
since
is the
2000.
finals, DC. They got medical with it. They
You
got
got to
some
risk
needles
it.
that they can do that
Yes,
and put it
Durant.
in that
Durant
little
hasn't been to the
spot.
finals since then.
well, that
Durant
might
hasn't been
that
to the
might
finals
Yeah.
since he
sound
blew his
easy
Achilles.
that they can shoot their leg up like that, and it's possible they could, but
They
I,
can.
you know,
They can. And they can run
if you
as tight
can't
as they
hear
Not of
me,
something
can.
I don't see
torn.
And
how
put
you
that
can
Not of
little
some.
thing
downplay it.
in there. Yeah.
Not of something torn. If
It
something
ain't
torn, you
nothing
can't. You
torn.
can't.
He
You
just got
can.
a
You can do
heart.
that.
His heart broken. That's all.
Yeah.
His heart.
It's,
You get a
oh
My
torn
Jesus
heart
heart
ain't
Christ.
broken
broken.
yet. I got 2 quarters to go before my heart get broken, right? I got two
Your
quarters to
heart
go,
been broken
so
before the season.
I'm confident that Indiana gonna get this handled by the end of the game. How about that? And Isaiah,
Well,
I'm gonna
no, you
hand it to you.
delusional.
I'm gonna hand it to you.
Delusional and
If
confidence, two
Indiana pull
different
this
segments.
game out, I need your number. You need to get me. I need your number on speed dial. I think I'm gonna add your number to speed dial when it happens. You know, I'm not gonna mess with
All right.
Najee because Najee
All right.
ain't been trying to rub it in like you.
I surely have to rub it in. Hey, Nadia, you don't know how many Morton steak this guy for losing. Man, my family be
Oh,
where I can't enter my front door for him sending these Morton steakhouses out for losing bets. He only
Your
he's
steaks? What are you
one
talking about?
when you
I
lose
sent
these
you your steaks.
games.
And you know what? When I
No,
sent you
it's
your steaks,
only
you
one.
didn't even know I sent them to you, right?
Yeah, I had to make
yeah,
sure it
I'm
was
yeah.
trying to
coming this
figure
door.
out
How
what
long he
what is
do
this
it though?
box doing out in front of my door.
Hey, he had reneged for like 3 years and finally won that Georgia Alabama game. And he was doing the freaking Cabbage Patch and all of old that we used to do back in the 80s, man. He was so damn happy, bro.
That
Oh
sound
my God. One
Skip and
thing I
Shannon.
tell you,
That's what it
those
sound
Morton
like.
It
All
steakhouses,
them
sounds like
losing
to me
bets.
too.
and they
Skip
was
and Shannon,
delicious.
right?
They had hot dogs, they had
Absolutely. So let's get this party started
they were
and
good,
get it
man.
off to
Good stuff. Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Let's get this first
It
topic
was
out there
well
because
and
I think a
everything.
lot of people want to know a little bit more in-depth detail about this particular topic. Looks like the Los Angeles Lakers were purchased a few days ago by Mark Walter, billionaire.
Hmm.
Mark Walter owns the
Yeah.
Los Angeles Dodgers, and he has several other major investments in different, industries that has made him a fortune. And it couldn't have gotten better, and it couldn't have been a better situation that Mark Walter stepped up to the plate and purchased this team from Jeannie Buss and the Buss family.
Mhm.
Because it looks like what Jerry Buss did, who is Dr. Jerry Buss, who owned the team initially, he had a
The
trust.
seven.
Basically, he had everything into a trust where all of the kids had to vote basically on selling the team, and it had to be a majority
Yeah.
vote. So
Hmm.
with that said, it looks
But
as
he also
though
keep it in the family.
exactly.
That's the crazy
That's
part.
why he did it, Najee. Yeah, that's why he did it. Keep it in the family. But money's
Yeah, they wanted to
that's what
keep
it
it in the
showed me.
family, but it looks like James Buss, who was Jerry Buss's son, wanted to sell the team
Oh,
earlier,
yeah.
deciding voting. She decided not to vote to sell the team at that time. So
Yeah.
whatever changed her heart and changed her mind, maybe she's tired, I don't know, but I think it just seemed to me that 10 billion was a little bit on the low end of what the Lakers would be valued at. Because, when we value these franchises, it looks like in sports, Dallas Cowboys to me look like the most expensive franchise in sports. Now, I'm pretty sure there, you know, is something to prove that different. But in the meantime of that, I would think the Lakers at least would have been up around anywhere between 10 to 15 billion dollars, you know.
Yeah.
But they got 10 billion, so they'll be able to split that amongst all of the kids, which is going to set all of them straight forever because most of his kids are like in their 50s or at least 50s or 60s, right? And he
Yeah.
might
Yeah,
have some
because
younger kids
if
that's going to benefit from it.
Magic's like going into his late 60s, so yeah, so
Yeah.
Genie got to be at least a late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah.
Man, if you look
They
at
said they
what
was friends when they were
Jerry,
young.
when you look at what Dr. Bus paid for that, they've been straight forever, bro. I mean, they've been rich for. He got that team, if I can remember correctly, in 1970, and here it is, 2025. He paid little or nothing if you think dollars for that team, and now it's worth 10 billion. They got 10 billion for it. Man, each one of them a couple billion
Well,
dollars out of that sale. They're
I
gonna get
mean,
several
technically,
dollars out of that sale, man.
they say they bought it for like 66 million back when they first bought it.
$67.5 million. Dr.
Right,
Bus bought that
right
team.
now, and then you think yes, point exactly, point well taken. And they gonna wind up with billions of dollars for something that didn't even cost $1 billion. Now you walk with
True.
several billions as a split. That's a beautiful
Oh,
turnover,
that's a
bro.
massive
That's
amount of
a
money. I mean, for
beautiful turnover.
anyone. And
Yep.
Najee wasn't very far off with Jeannie Buss's age. It looks like she's 63 years old. And I think I want to say James Buss is not very far off with his age because and all
Well,
of his other kids, I'm pretty sure they're different ages in different age brackets. I don't know specifically the age of all of his kids, but it looks as though all of them are going to be straight. They're going to be financially straight forever.
one thing they wanted to do also, DC, they when they was talking about ever selling that team, they wanted to give it to sell it to somebody who they was familiar with. And I
Exactly.
for
Exactly.
good reason that by Magic being a part of that organization that bought that team from them, they felt comfortable with selling it to him because they know it was going to be in good hands to sell it to
True.
Magic and his organization. Plus, they already own the Dodgers too, so they keeping all that thing right in the city of Los Angeles. So this is a beautiful
Absolutely.
thing for them, man.
And
Yeah,
Mark Walter is a class act. He has an investment group, and Magic is part of that investment group. And I mean,
that owns
it's
the
just a
Redskins too.
classy. I mean, the guy's got a classy
Yeah.
organization. He's very
Hmm.
I mean, when it comes to diversity, I mean, if you look at how the
Yep.
Dodgers makeup is on the baseball field, and then you go to their front office, and then you go to, behind the scenes of all the personnel that's within the Dodgers organization, it's amazing how Mark Walter has really parlayed all of that into a very classy franchise. It's a winning franchise because a lot of times that formula doesn't always work balance wise. That formula sometimes, if you have a very good
Yeah.
organization and you're treating people right, it doesn't always equate to winning. But his
Yeah.
formula has equated to winning because the Dodgers has been constantly in the playoffs, and then they won the World Series in 2020, which was COVID year, where they had to play it in one particular location. They ended up winning it in Texas, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And then they
Yeah,
just won it last year. And I could see them getting back this year. It's only maybe a team or two that might stand in their way, but I don't see it because Shohei Ohtani is going to start pitching again. And I think he's already into the rotation of pitching. So once he starts to pitch again, they can bring him in as a closer anytime. But getting back to Mark Walter and the organization, I am so encouraged that Mark Walter brought Magic Johnson in as a partner in this thing because I mean Magic Johnson has done so much for the black community and Magic
yeah,
Johnson has done so much for the city of Los Angeles. I mean, he's provided
yeah,
jobs, he's invested in properties here that could help people, and he's done just such an amazing job when it came to him, representing Los Angeles like it should be represented from a professional athlete who is a legendary
yeah.
professional athlete like Magic Johnson. So here's my next. With this purchase, I'm going to serve notice to Rob Pelinka, who is the current general manager. You might better be cleaning your office out, bro. I'm serious. You might better be getting all of your desk work in your office cleaned out if it's not already cleaned out at the end of the season. Because I do not see Rob Pelinka returning with that team since that team has changed hands. I really do not see it. I'll get both of you guys' opinion and input on that. And listen, let me square one thing before I turn it over to you guys. Rob Pelinka is not a bad guy. Rob Pelinka has done a damn good job. Rob Pelinka helped them win in 2020. He helped put that team together, you know, and he was able to bring in D'Angelo Russell. I believe his name is D'Angelo Russell, right? He was able to bring him in, and he was able to bring several other players in the 2020 year where they played in the bubble and then they were able to pull it off and get past Dallas at that time. I want to say Dallas was, or actually Denver. I'm sorry, it was Denver. They was able
Denver.
to
No,
overcome
but
Denver to
D'Angelo
get
wasn't
there,
playing
right?
for them at that time though. He wasn't.
Wh-
He was no. He wasn't playing on that time. He was playing at that time. I think D'Angelo was either playing with the Warriors or the Nets.
Okay,
But
but
the thing is, the 2020 year, he had so many players. He had
right,
Rondo, he had Dwight Howard, he had JaVale McGee, he had Danny Green, he had a lot of people on that team. And I mean, that's just me getting off just right off the head. They had a crazy squad on that team for him to get all them people. And then after that, he had Russell Westbrook, he had Carmelo Anthony, he had Trevor Ariza,
he
he
had
got
Dennis
Howard
Schroeder
again.
too.
Bro, they
Dennis
had
Schroeder was on that
Dennis
team as
Schroeder, yeah,
well.
Dennis Schroeder, yeah, yeah. So he has gotten a lot of play. He got Anthony Davis, of course. We've got to mention him, but they have gotten
Absolutely.
a lot of players on this team since he's taken over and bringing people over. We're not even counting Luca. We just got
Yeah.
Luca this season that just happened. So you have a lot of players. You can't tell me too many franchises that gotten that type of name brand players on a franchise in that short amount of time. There's no way you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna say he even did a bad job. The only
Oh, he
reason why
didn't
you're
do a
talking about
bad
it like that
job
because
at
of the
all.
franchise, because it's the Lakers and it's also LeBron's team. And then since everybody knows that LeBron is over 40, we already know he's just a bad injury or just a split decision to say, I'm tired of this now. I'm ready to spend time with
Yeah.
my family. I already done miss I already miss all of my kids' life already. And then he has a daughter that's coming up to be a teenager, so he's missing that life too. That's
Yeah.
the only reason he want to hang up his sneakers. That'd be the only reason why.
He wanna think too, man, that he's in the perfect city to do that. I mean, they were talking to him a couple of days ago about how he's gonna, move on with his life after basketball. And one of the first things he started mentioning was acting because, he's in the best city to kick off. One thing about being in LA, you got all the scripts there, stuff that happening. The only other city that has something of that magnitude is Georgia with Tyler Perry and the group that he has down there in Atlanta. So he's in a perfect spot. for catapulting
Absolutely.
his career as an actor. Yep.
Thing and getting back to Rob Pelinka actually was Kobe Bryant's agent. Kobe Bryant was able to, Rob Pelinka came into the organization by representing Kobe Bryant, and then the rest is history. He was able to parlay his way into becoming general manager. However, Magic Johnson returned to the Lakers as the president of basketball operations at the time. And there was some friction there. I mean, everybody knew it. Everybody I talked to in Los Angeles, when they were having bad games or when they were having seasons that weren't going well, it was always Magic Johnson's fault. I never heard a person mention Rob Pelinka, who was the general manager. Now, I think both equally are responsible for making sure the right kind of personnel is brought in there and to make sure you put a winning product on the court. However, if you have a general manager and his principal responsibility is to handle player engagement in terms of bringing players in or in trading players in the whole 9 yards, I would think that would belong purposely to the general manager more so than the president of basketball operations. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Najee, but it looks as though there was friction where Magic felt slighted when he left that organization, man. I mean, he felt slighted. He felt like
Mhm.
Rob Pelinka was backstabbing him. That's the best word that I could use. And this is
Yep, that's
not
the
an
perfect word to
allegation. This
use.
is known in the news. This is in the media
Yeah.
that Magic did mention that he felt like he was being undercut by Rob Pelinka in a lot of areas when it came
Mhm.
to the basketball operations side of it. Because, when these people get in these organizations, no matter what position they are, they tend to think they might even have more power than the person who is above them. And then they work their way up to the top
Hmm.
to try to get that power from the person
Mhm.
that's above them. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So it's kind
Yeah,
of a
that makes
political situation where politics play a really intricate role in any organization. It doesn't have to be basketball. It doesn't have to be sports. It could be
it
any
happens on
industry.
a
It could be
daily
the
basis
travel
in
industry.
jobs.
You
Yeah.
get people into these
Yep.
positions and then they take it upon
Yeah.
themselves. Look, I'm going to undercut this person. I'm going to dime them out. I'm going to be the snitch, and I'm going to take care of
Yeah, you're
business,
gonna
and
be
I'm
the
going to
rat, and they're
let
gonna
the
be the
people
kiss
up top
behind.
know what this person's
Yep.
doing, and I'm going to go
Mhm.
ahead and get
Yeah.
myself positioned so I can take
Yeah.
over if that person doesn't
Rats
survive. Correct?
kiss behind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Najee, help me
yeah,
understand
because
this. Tell
you got to
me,
think
do
about
you
you
think?
got to think about it when it comes. Well, yeah.
Well, tell me, do you think Rob Pelinka is going to survive going into next season with the Lakers since Magic is basically going to be in charge? Because I know what Mark Walters is going to do. Mark Walters is going to hand that team over to Magic to run it,
Yeah.
technically,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Yeah.
I'm wrong, you tell me I'm
They
wrong.
probably gonna play one season now. I think they're gonna play one season out to see how it play out first. Because I mean, you already can't really go off of what the Lakers did this past season because Luca was only playing there for 3 months, and then he was coming off an injury. So you're going to give him that time to be able to do something this season. I mean, they also. I mean, he's already on the ticking time bomb right now. You got because they doing trades in the finals. I personally don't remember when they ever did that, and they different teams are making several different big trades at that. So I think they already paying attention to him, seeing what can he do to continue to improve the team. Now, me personally, I don't think he's gonna be in a tough spot because not only they don't want to play in that type of atmosphere of if you don't play good, you out the same year.
Hmm.
But you got too many people that make too much money on that team already. You got Luca that makes supermax. You got LeBron that makes supermax, and then you got Austin Reeves that's making he's not making supermax, but he's making max. So
Hmm.
with that just that much money between those three players, nobody is giving enough money to spread around and playing in
Yeah.
LA, playing in the state of California, they already double tax you on money that you get. So when let's say if he's
Right.
getting 50 million for this year, he's not really getting 50 million. He's probably getting 32 out of 50.
Right.
So he's probably getting 30 between 28 to 32 million. But if you play for the Miami Heat when it's no state taxes, that 50 can be more of 42, 43. Just
Right.
for just for a plain example. And that's a big difference when you talk about per season. It don't really hurt certain players on a team like LeBron or Luca because they got endorsements outside of the sport. So right
Hmm.
there alone, it helps you not even miss that little money because LeBron got several businesses. Did several movies already, and he's still one of the top selling shoes in the league. That's
Yeah,
actively still playing. So when you got all this revenue coming in, you're not missing the extra tax money. He's already the first currently active playing in the NBA that's a billionaire. So he's not missing that money that he's playing for the state of California. And guess what? He's it's just like what Isaiah said. It's very convenient for him to play in that state because everything he needs to be doing outside of basketball is right in his backyard. So it's so much
yep,
simple and convenient for him to do it. And then of course his son Bronny was playing in college and high school in the same state. Everything
right,
was so convenient for him.
yep.
Everything was right there.
So let me
See,
get back to
it's
this.
extra added incentive
I
for him to
see the
be
bigger
there. It's so
picture.
many avenues to be there. Yeah,
Yeah, I see the bigger picture, Najee, of what you're saying with the players and with the salaries and all of that. But what I want to do is revert back to if 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 Rob Pelinka, if Magic truly felt that Rob Pelinka backstabbed him, you think he gonna let him general manage that team next year? I find it hard to believe. Now, I might be wrong, and I'm pretty sure people will tell me I'm just wrong. I'm just outright wrong. However, I will say this:
Hmm.
if it was me and you slighted me, the signs will be there for you to go and pack your bags and get on out of there. I wouldn't have even have to tell you to leave. I mean, basically,
But
once that
Magic's
team
also the type of
changed
player.
hands,
I mean, he's the also type of person that cares about what you think of him. He don't want to look like a dirty person by doing it. He
well, that's
he
true
wants to
too.
look
That's true
professional
too.
while
That's
getting rid
that's a
of him.
great
So
point.
you got to give him a chance to at least redeem himself and show him that he's doing something. Now, if everybody outdo you, that could be his excuse to get him out the door, even though he probably want him out the door already. You see what I'm saying? So you can get him
Well,
out the door because you're not, bro. We're gonna have to get rid of you. You're not doing a good job. Boom. Now that clears not only your own mindset of, but everybody else perspective of you. Because Magic tells it himself that he likes being the good guy. He likes people caring and think of him in a good light. You don't want to be known as a person that just fire people because you in your feelings. That's not gonna look good for him. He cares about that.
I'm
He
not
cares. There's
saying
certain people that
Magic
don't.
is going to
He
fire
does.
him. I'm just saying what's going to
Mm-hmm.
happen is the management is going to change in a sense where some of the decisions Rob Pelinka want to make ain't going to be his decisions anymore.
Mm.
So can he stand that and
Oh
can
yeah,
he
yeah.
stay
I
into
mean,
that situation, right? If he
and
if
I
you
can
can
if I
live
can
up
keep a
under those
job.
conditions where you go to, because more than likely, like I say, I'm almost 100% sure he, whatever the last word is going to be on who comes in there and who goes out of there is going to be Magic Johnson's a decision. It's not going to be Rob Pelinka's decision. Rob Pelinka could go to Magic because that's who he's going to have to report to now. I'm telling you. He's going to have to report to Magic and he's going to look, I want to get this player. I think this player will fit in good here. But when you done what Magic says Rob Pelinka
you,
has done to him, the decision in Magic's court, he's not going to fire him. I don't
you
think
see,
he's
that
going to
was
fire
friction,
him.
man. That was part of the friction, man. I mean, Rob was going to Genie Bust out the man. So
Yeah,
we have to
exactly.
realize what we have to realize. The whole entire situation is the mere fact that if they rekindled their relationship, because Magic was pissed. I've seen
He
Magic
was
on
pissed.
multiple interviews. Of course he was, man, because he know he was wrong, man. In the Magic had with that organization from the moment he got drafted, it was he's tight knit,
Mhm.
man. And for this
Sure.
guy to
It was a
wear a
family
wedge between
organization.
It's
that
like they
relationship,
It
family.
was
was
very family
total family
oriented,
to you.
right? Everybody
And
was
then this
kind
guy
of,
wears his
everybody was
way in there.
family.
DC, he wears his way in there through Kobe. What he did to Magic, man, to kind of push Magic out the because it was marginalizing Magic. And that's what we failing to realize here, man. I tell you right now, it's Magic and that venom still lies between us. I'm not giving him another opportunity to do nothing. I don't care what he said, how
Exactly. You
trades
just
he's
summed
making.
up
His ass to
everything
be
that
out the
I'm
door,
saying.
man. Man, you crazy. He'll be
Because
out of there,
one
bro.
thing
Because that's
about
the
in a
reason Matt away
workplace,
from the team, man. Because of him.
yeah, exactly.
Watch
So now
Magic
here's my
on
thing.
several interviews, man, and he was devastated about it.
Say this. You don't forget when people do stuff like that to you in any workplace. I know I was
Not
in a
like that.
workplace. I
Yep.
had people undermining me. Every time I look, I'm getting a call from my boss who wasn't even in the city that I was doing my job in. My boss calling me and asking me what happened here. And I'm like, what do you mean what happened? Oh, well, I got a call from so and so and they told me you did this. That kind of stuff you don't forget. And Magic might be, he might
Yeah.
have the kind of heart that could forget it. He might can just let it go and just, start over again, start fresh. I highly doubt it because people do not forget when you backstab them. They just don't forget. They ain't gonna forget it. So we'll
Well,
see how this thing
it's
plays out because once again, they're gonna have to do a lot of moving and they don't have a lot of cap space to do it. I mean, because if you look at their roster and their cap space, they don't go hand in hand, right? So I'm just saying Rob Pelinka might want to be thinking deep about, his next move because it might be that situation that I brought up earlier that, you the man say you backstabbed him. Now this guy taking over the franchise because he is an investor with Mark Walter. Mark Walter is not going to have anything to do with that team when it comes to basketball. He going to turn all that over to Magic. Magic going to be running that
yeah.
basketball team, man. Magic is going to be
So, I'm gonna tell
making
you, Judge.
decisions that Jeannie Buss made. I'm telling you.
You know what,
So
judging off of the stuff that I knew about that DC man, the money is signed and that money is being transferred to the bus. His behind will be out of there, man, because
yeah, I
Magic
don't
was
see him
torn apart,
surviving.
man. Magic was torn apart. I mean, he was literally almost in tears talking about how they marginalized him and degraded him, man. As a guy who grew up in that franchise, you gotta remember Magic, father went to that organization. He was never bound from
Absolutely.
team to team to team. His whole entire career there, man. And he was
Entire
just like
career with the
family,
Lakers,
invited to
start to finish.
cookouts and everything else, man. And he was happy, and then they wanted him around. Magic always had a bit of stock in the franchise. I mean, not no say so money involved, but he enough to just hang around. Then they started getting it. We dug into the front office, and then Lincoln come in there and did like a machete to his
Yeah.
and then he was undermining every Magic did, man. So, man, I don't care how good a GM he would have been, he would have, no. If I got enough power to get he out. And not only that, because guess what? I knew he had some in the front office. He was an agent. Somebody else might hire him now. So he shouldn't
Yeah.
just get on out of here. That's
Well,
all he.
that's the writing on the wall that I mentioned when we started this topic out. Is the writing is on the wall. Now, anybody with common sense would know. It's just like in when I worked in this job, and people would come back, or you never thought would have an opportunity to be above you. They end up being above you. So when that happens, trust me, it's a subtle way that they're gonna get you back. They're gonna find a way to extract you and get you out. I mean, that's just the reality of how human beings operate. Question to you guys is who would be a good fit in case Rob Pelinka does not survive this? Who would be a good fit for general manager with the Lakers? I would say Magic Johnson himself can do it. He did it. I mean, not Jerry Buss, but Jerry West. Jerry West was the general manager throughout all of those Showtime years that they won. And Jerry West was an ex-player, and he managed the team really well. I say Magic can do it. However, there's other candidates out there, and I want to start can come in there and be a general manager for the Lakers. I would say a secondary person would be Bob Myers, who used to coach Golden State. Bob Myers lives in Los Angeles, so he wouldn't have to go very far.
Man, I'll get Magic. If I was Magic, I'd just take the job over to it, start running smooth at least. I'll
Yeah.
get rid of that nutcase that's in there now, and I'll run it for a little while, and he might like it because the thing is, he loved that team. You know, that team made him what he is.
Hmm.
That team catapulted him to all these business ventures that he's doing all around the world, man. One thing I can say about Magic, Magic has a full team of professionals that's working for him. I remember one of his grand old year in Lauderdale for one of his Starbucks. And one of the guys before Magic came on stage, the guy introduced him all the crowd that was there. He said that Magic wanted to put these Starbucks communities. The folks believe in it. They just thought that wouldn't be enough black folks drinking coffee, wasn't going to
Hmm.
patronize the business. They don't care who it was. They just wasn't going to do anything. This organization move forward. One thing that he did say, the man, Magic came on board with Starbucks. He started them out. He put them in communities, and his Starbucks was doing better than most everybody who had franchises, man. So he knew what he was doing. He put them in black keys. He put them in other people who was going to pass through those, so they would stop. So I'm going out on a limb and say I would do the best job because he's got his into that organization, as a team,
Mm.
and he a better fit because he's going to care about what's going on with the Lakers.
Najee,
Yep.
who do you think Magic will want to take the heat from the team when, if let's just say times are not good for that team? You think he would be in position to want to take the heat with that?
I just because I was trying to tell you because Magic don't want that. He don't want negative stigma on him. He doesn't.
Hmm.
And guess what? If LeBron doesn't have the personnel for him to succeed, it's just think everywhere he's been. When he was with the Cavs, when he was with the Heat, when he was with the Cavs again, and he's with the Lakers. They gotta find somebody to put the weight on. The first segment when he was with the Cavs, they blamed the owner because he didn't want to pay nobody. Cool. When he was with the Heat, it was really blaming Wade and Bosh. Wade because Wade it was his health. Bosh it was because of his inconsistency. And then when he went to the Cavs, they were blaming Kevin Love a lot because his numbers that he was playing with the Timberwolves was nowhere near the numbers he was with the Cavs. Of course, he's not the number one guy no more. He was a third guy, so his numbers was going to drop. When he came to the Lakers, he was blaming on all the young players that's inexperienced. They can't do anything. They can't do anything for him. Then when Anthony Davis got there, they stopped blaming him for him being kind of inconsistent. His numbers wasn't where it was when he was with the Pelicans, and then he stayed hurt. They kept blaming. Then when Westbrook came over there, and when Carmelo and everybody else that came over there, they blamed somebody else. And then every time LeBron did not succeed in anything in any of those seasons, they blame out of one of the players that's not playing to their certain standards, or they were blaming Pelinka why somebody else to prevail for him. They were like, "Oh, this man can't shoot the ball, man. Why he got him over there? Pelinka got to find somebody else." So guess what? They're gonna be saying the same thing about Magic. Magic need to get LeBron a shooter. Magic got to get the man. They was worrying about the big man this season when Williams when he felt his his working. They said they
Yeah.
guess what
His physical.
they sent him right back over there. His physical, yeah. When he felt his physical, they sent him right back over there, and it was like, dang, we got rid of him. We can't keep him, and we just lost Anthony Davis. Now we don't have a big man, and guess what? They were saying Pelinka has to get him, so it's gonna be the same thing with Magic. Magic do not want that. Magic just want to be able to smile in people's face every day and then go on by his business. He don't
Well,
want
shit,
to
he was
do the
taking the
dirty work.
heat. He was taking the heat when he was there as president of basketball operations when Pelinka was there. He was taking the heat then.
Well, that's
Nobody
right.
mentioned Pelinka's name. I
Because
would talk to
nobody knew
people
Pelinka.
everywhere in this
Because
town.
nobody knew Pelinka.
Everybody
Nobody
in
knew
this
Yeah.
town
Pelinka
that
When you
I
like
look at
that.
talked
that,
to
So
was,
when
man, Magic did
Magic
this and
left, that's
Magic
when
ran him
all the weight
off
went
and
into
Magic
Pelinka.
did this, Magic did that. I didn't never hear anybody say
Mm-hmm.
Rob Pelinka. Maybe Magic was the most famous one. That he was the most
That's
identifiable
what it is because that's
one
the
of.
only person they were talking about. Nobody was talking
Yeah.
about Pelinka. Even when Magic first left, people really didn't know who Pelinka was until they went in depth of talking about him. And then
until
when
he
they
left,
mentioned that
yeah,
was Kobe agent, that's when they started to really
yeah,
pay attention to him. He's been
Yeah.
with the
yeah.
franchise for a
See,
minute already. The only thing is
he
nobody
was
knew
just
about him until Magic. Now we have to point at now the fingers has to be pointed somewhere. That was the reason why
Yeah,
people
he
nope.
was that sneaky rat in the background, DC. I'm gonna tell you, Pelinka was that sneaky little rat walk inside the boss's office and snitch on people. That's us. So nobody really ain't know where it was coming from him. He was that little sneaky rat want to put your foot in his behind because he was going in there and rip somebody out. That was him all the way. Pissed Magic off because he went going back Magic's back telling Genie Bus things that Magic wasn't doing correct. So that was the thing that Magic really issue with.
I just am looking at here. It says Rob Pelinka took over Magic's position in 2017. He was been with the Lakers since 2017, but in 2020 he was promoted to vice president of basketball operations for the Lakers.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what he
So
was doing.
that
Nobody because
explains
nobody
that
knew.
sums it all up to
That's what I'm
me.
telling you.
That look,
Telling you.
the
That's what
guy
I'm telling
he was very ambitious about
you. A little rat.
being at the top
Little
and
rat.
making all of the decisions, and he didn't want anybody challenging his decision making process. But now it's getting ready to get challenged. It's going to get challenged big time now, and if he wants to stay, he's just going to have to deal with it. You go in, you make a proposal, then they tell you, "Nah, we don't think it's going to work that way," and then you just going to have to eat it and go with the way that they want it to work, because that's just how it works. That's just
Pretty much.
how
Well, I tell
the
you,
chain of command works. You know.
Magic has been around so long, DC. He probably got all of this stuff mapped out of who he want to reply with. It's just remain to be seen. How this thing gonna pan out because the mere fact that Magic has control of this right now, dude, we're just speculating on all the things that's gonna happen. Smart guy that I think he is, and he's probably the one that family in this organization to purchase this team and he's
Mark
got
Walter,
everything in
yeah.
line to carry it on. Yeah. So that's what I'm telling you. He's probably got everything mapped out, and Bliss getting ready to find his pink slip on his desk.
I'll go the distance and say Magic was probably the one to broker the deal. I
Of
just
course
Magic
he
is that
was.
deeply embedded into the
And
Lakers organization, and
of
there
course, DC,
you
they
know
weren't the only team to someone they know. They wanted to
exactly.
sell that
So all
somebody
of a
that they
sudden,
know
Mark
who's going
Walter,
to take care of
he
you.
that's right. So we'll see how this thing unfolds. I'm really interested to see it because me personally, I prefer to see Magic as the general manager. I like to see him, like you say, get it back in order on point so that the Lakers will be competitive to get to the playoffs and to run deep into the playoffs every year. And then if he decides he don't want someone, once again, I think Bob Myers would be an excellent fit for that organization.
Yeah,
Bob Myers, I once
yeah.
saw Bob Myers a couple months ago on a bike over in Brentwood, crossing a street. And I was like, damn, that's on a Raiders jacket. And he was riding one of those bikes with those thick tires on it. He lives here. He was
But
Golden State's
that
general
depends.
manager.
That depends if he wants to stay with that type of that type of
Well,
energy
he's in the
though,
booth
because
right
he
now.
left the Warriors for a reason.
He's been
He
in the
left the
booth.
Warriors for a reason.
Yeah, he's been in
Yeah,
the booth.
I know, because he's been interviewed quite a few times. But the thing is, he left a winning franchise that was winning championships for a reason, bro. He don't want to be with
Well,
that type of energy.
it's always a
Hey,
reason. It's
Najee,
something that
And and
it
and and,
Najee.
and the thing is, that's eternal. That's the top dogs that's getting this with the energy. We ain't even talking about the athletes.
Hey,
He left because of the athletes. What's
hey, Najee, Najee,
up?
Najee. You notice something?
What's up?
This is the longest I've ever been on a same topic because D team is getting smoked right now, and he failed to talk about this game going on. These boys getting
oh,
beat
it's
up. The
At
Pacers
79
all?
getting beat.
Yeah, because
68
they down double
with
digits
DC
a
right
hadn't
now.
minute
mentioned
They down
minute
anything.
to
double
go in the third quarter.
DC hadn't said
Look, I
nothing like
have an
a freaking
excuse. I have
at
you
all.
gave me
you
an
And
can
find
off
something else
ramp.
to talk
Tyrese
about.
Halliburton. I got an
man,
off
you ain't
ramp.
got no excuse. You
I
ain't
got
got
an
Nah,
no
off
but you
ramp.
excuse,
had
man.
faith that they
Tyrese
go.
Halliburton got
So we
hurt.
don't want to hear about
You know,
Tyrese. You said after
yeah.
Tyrese got hurt that you're gonna keep your
I'm
faith in
staying
them
with
and they're gonna
Indiana. I'm
prevail
I'm
without
rolling with
Tyrese.
I'm
So
rolling
no,
with
no, no,
Indiana.
no. So
Yeah,
what you're gonna do is you're
yeah.
gonna roll what you said. Then you're not gonna give excuses after you
I'm
already
gonna
made
live and
it
die.
after injury already. So we don't sir.
I'm a live and die with my prediction. So anyway,
DC, you
we've covered
during the
quite a bit of
halftime,
ground on
you were
we've
supposed to
covered
find out what was going to happen with your leg during halftime, man. You ain't saying crap
Well,
about this
the
dude's
the
legs.
game ain't over till
What's
the
going
fat
on?
lady sings. So why don't you guys start bragging when the final second
She's
done
starting to
ticked off
holler
the
then.
clock? Then y'all can
She
start
got
bragging.
dog. She got
Starting to holler right now. She's singing like Kelly right now.
Well, once the time run out, then you start bragging and bragging on how you predicted that they were going to win. And I have to admit that you guys were right if that's the case, you know?
Yeah.
So let's
Oh
talk a
my
little bit about
God.
this topic about Ume Adoka. I hope I'm pronouncing this man's name right. Ime Adoka
You got
or
it.
Ume Adoka. I hope I got it
You
right
got it close.
Yeah.
because I don't know
You
his
got it close
name.
enough. We know what you're saying.
Anyway, this guy is a top-notch coach. He was with the Boston Celtics. He played under Pop when he was playing basketball at San
Pop.
Antonio. Was a decent player.
Mm-hmm.
He learned under the best tutelage that he could learn under being under Pop, and then he was an assistant on some other teams before he actually got his first head coaching job with the Celtics. And if he would have stayed with the Celtics, he would have won a championship. He would have won an NBA championship there. However, his career at the Celtics was cut short due to the fact that there was a situation where he was involved with another employee of the Boston Celtics.
Oh,
Got him in a
yeah.
trick bag. He got him put in a trick
Inappropriate
bag.
stuff.
He was able to,
Mm-hmm.
and he got fired
Yeah.
technically. What I mean is
Mm-hmm.
second chances and having another opportunity. Because a lot of times, once you have one opportunity in life, you don't get a second opportunity. Fortunately for Ume Adoka, he got a
Yeah.
second opportunity, and it was a very valuable second opportunity.
Yeah.
I always say one thing: when things happen to you, you think, "Man, damn, how did this happen to me? Why did this such a horrible thing happen to me?" This was the best thing ever happened to Udoka because in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, Houston to me is where he could set his legacy at. He could really build a dynasty legacy type of career at Houston by bringing a championship back to the city of Houston, as well as etching himself in the history with the NBA because they just signed him to a new deal. And I want to hear what Najee has to say about this new long-term contract he just landed.
Mm-mm.
Um, can you elaborate on that a little bit for us, Najee?
Well, it's good because, like I said, he has one of the youngest teams in the league. It messed it up a little bit when they got Durant because Durant's one of the oldest players in the league. But yeah, because I mean, they bought into his coaching scheme and everything that he got going on. They went from a team that's not making the playoffs after James Harden left to them being second in the West. The West is nothing to take lightly with. So when you're above the Nuggets, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Spurs, all these franchises, that's the Memphis Grizzlies, all these teams that you're above, that's out of been successful, recently won a championship, or have been better than you for many years already. For you to jump from no playoffs to second in the West is already a great improvement because now it's showing he knows what he's doing and he can coach
Exactly.
young
Yeah.
players. Some players
Yeah.
can't. Some coaches can't coach young players because they don't have they don't have the patience for them. So now you mean to tell me you keeping them disciplined, and then yeah, I mean they buy into exactly what you're saying. Now the
Mm-hmm.
one thing they was missing last season was consistency. They couldn't be consistent with Jalen Green. Jalen Green's a really nice player, but just like they said, Jalen Green will give you 18 points. Then he'll fool around, give you 11. He'll give you 12. So then when you next thing you know, you cancel him out the game. You were like, well, now he's with us. I don't know if you play basketball, but when you say he's with us, that means he's playing so bad that he's literally on our team to help to help beat his
Yeah.
team.
To the next
But
thing.
then that's what he'll
Yeah.
drop. So I'm like, bro. So you very unpredictable. You inconsistent.
Unpredictable. Yeah.
But when you have that
Yeah.
but Durant that he averages 27, 26, 26 points, and he's gonna give it to you every time. And guess
He's gonna
what?
pick up the slack.
He's very efficient. He can do the post. He can do
He's
the
gonna pick
perimeter.
slack,
He
man.
can do the 3 point. He can play some defense when he chooses to. I mean, bro, the least he's ever averaged with the other three of the teams he ever played was what 25.8. That was the least. The most he averaged was what the Nets was 29 points. Like he's gonna make sure he give it to. I'm talking about just the averages. I'm not even talking about what he averaged per season because when per season he was averaging in the 30s. But I'm talking about just the average per team. The most he averaged on a team was the Brooklyn Nets. And guess what? That was after he tore his Achilles. He tore his Achilles with the Warriors. That was right
Hmm.
before. So for you to average the most in any segment in your career is crazy, man. He's gonna be exactly what they needed Jalen Green to be, is to
Yeah,
give you the 25
yeah.
to 27 points, but be consistent and efficient with it. Now, the injury thing is his biggest thing, because the way how he plays, he gets hurt with around his calves or his time, because a 7 footer should be moving the way he does anyway. So that's the
Right.
only thing you have to really worry about is his age and his nutrition of getting hurt, because he's going to get some type of tweak with his ankle or something. I've seen him get prepared in a warm up line and twist his ankle. I've seen that. He twists his ankle in a warm up line. But that's it. That's
I
the only
think
thing
in his in
his
his
nutrition.
mind, yeah, I think in his mind too, DC. I think he's going to be more of a fusion over there too with Houston. It's been, a things that him being down here like we hanging out with Pat Riley and the rest down here. If he would be a fit in Miami, of course he signed over there with Houston, meaning that he think he was going to fit into the Miami Heat, the way they do things, because I tell you, we need him. We need an extra scorer. If he was to think whether the team going to be as good as the Miami Heat, he took off. He there because he think all he is that missing puzzle over in Houston. So I mean, he need a couple to
Yeah,
their puzzle. He ain't missing
Absolutely.
link. They need puzzles, man. I mean, the way we in the thing we lost now, Butler was here and we brought him in here. The whole different ball game that we don't have Butler. He was just a piece of it, but we still need more to surround him. So for him, Houston, all he just plug him in. So I mean, I didn't say any. I mean, he's got these bruises, but he can play, a certain amount of minutes. It's going to fish to Houston, and I think he ultimately signed instead of signing with the Heat.
Back to Umi Udoka
he
because that's
signed. No, they
yeah.
traded him to the Rockets versus the Heat because the
Hmm.
Rockets gave so much. They gave Jalen Green. They gave Dylan Brooks, that used to play for the Memphis Grizzlies, but they gave 2 first-round picks and 4 second-round picks. The Heat was not going to give that much up
Well,
for a 37-year-old player.
yeah, but
Way. There's
I
no way
know
the Heat
that,
was
but
going to give away.
no, but see, with the Heat, I would have emptied off because the Heat only got a consistent players right now, man.
37,
I mean,
37
most of these,
is
oh,
deep,
oh,
bro.
well, you want a guy experience. I mean, we don't have that many.
Yeah, but you
Come,
want him, but
we have
they want Durant.
inconsistent.
They want any team they put Durant on. They want him to be no less than the second best player on the team, no less.
He would have
Absolutely.
been better than everybody the Heat team.
Getting back to Umi Udoka's
Yeah, yeah.
contract, is Umi Udoka signed an initial $28.5 million contract with Houston a couple of years ago. They had a 52 game, as Najee stated earlier, they
Hmm.
had a 52 game winning season, which was highly impressive because Houston hadn't been back to the type of form that they were in when they were championship caliber teams back in the day. Emi Adoka was able to get that young team and bring that young team to the level that it is now, and to be able to add Kevin Durant into that fold since he's a veteran. He might be able to contribute just enough to be able to help that team, and no telling how far
It
that they
can't be
can.
nothing but upside from that.
Exactly. So, one thing I could say about Umi Adoka is he's one of the best coaches in the NBA. And I think Houston's management and
I do
Houston's
believe that.
owner recognized that.
Yeah,
And
of
they
course
brought the
they
guy
did.
in a year or two to flip that program around, that franchise around. And now he's going to have an 8-figure contract. The details of his contract are not out yet on what he'll actually be making, but if it's a 8-figure contract, it's a big contract. I mean, that's a big deal for him to be able to kind of solidify his legacy and start building toward a lasting legacy in the Houston Rockets organization. I think the organization did everything that
And
it
he's at a
did
decent
need to
age too,
do.
because he's only 47.
Exactly. So, he's a young coach and he's able to relate with these young players. He's able to relate with all the players because I watched him in that Boston game, and that was against Miami, I believe. And Miami had them down, and they would win a game, and then the next game, you would see him ready to play that next game. Boston took that next game. So he's definitely he makes adjustments during the game. Uh at
Yeah.
halftime, first half, second half, and he makes adjustments after the game in order to build a game plan for the next game. So that's going to be a big deal. Now, getting to Kevin Durant, and we've covered a lot in with Durant. Durant is going to be a major impactful player for the Houston Rockets.
So, man, once you got a guy who can like that with a wealth of experience and he's been on teams and to plug him in and his role and why he was acquired, it is a great fit. And I just feel bad that we put that deal here in Miami because I just don't see now with what's out there and to make our team, we need at least three good players. And from what I see right now, we haven't acquired those misses of that puzzle. So we just missed a good shot. Durant, going over to Houston. So Pat Riley, and the rest of the team over there, they got to dig in, man, because the season will be right around the corner. I mean, it starts fast. You got that it's about 2 or 3 months and then back at it again. So they really have to dig deep, man, and grab players to be competitive. Right now, we're not competitive. I mean, not ready to win no championship. We got smoked in the playoff. We actually hadn't been in the playoff last year, and then we kind of wiggle our way in. But it's just to see them guys get beat like that as you watched over them with a good competitive every year, and now to the point where you got guys who fussing about playing time because of we star and all this stuff, and we had a bunch of circus going on last year, and then we kind of came on strong enough. We needed these players in there and let them is over the summer months and get ready for yep rallying and game. They got some work to do.
Absolutely. So it looks like Durant has agreed to this trade for Durant going to Houston for Houston Rockets players Jalen Green
Oh,
and
no
Dylan
choice.
Brooks.
It's only two players in the league that got a no trade clause. He had no choice.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So
This was a no
Durant is
trade
over.
clause with
I'm
What?
huh?
saying
Say
it's
that
only two
again.
players in the league got a no trade clause, and which is LeBron and Bradley Bill.
Oh,
So he has no choice where they
oh,
send him at. They could send him to they
oh,
could send him to the if they want to.
Hmm.
oh.
So on an
They
update, quick
hey
update
they
on this
gave him
Indiana
to a
and
team that gave him the
OKC
most.
game. It looks like it's a
Yeah, they
68-84. It
down
looks like
16. Go ahead, keep
OKC is
talking.
in control, right? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it looks
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
they're in control of winning the game, and we'll see
They
because
gonna come
they
back.
only have.
The Pacers coming back.
I highly doubt it. 9 minutes and
They got
47 seconds left.
10 minutes
I,
left.
I, I
Uh huh.
they're gonna have to hit a bunch of
They got
threes, and
plenty of them, see, but they don't have one. Yeah.
yeah,
Dude is on the stretcher.
yeah. So it looks like Durant averaged 26 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists last season. So I think he'll be a big addition for Houston. I believe he's going to make an impact there if he could stay healthy. Like you say, he's
Yeah.
37. So, I mean, when you get up in age, your body starts to break down on you with that, right? You know,
But his
Yep.
play hasn't diminished.
But
I see him getting his minutes in. I think he's going to be all right.
you think he's going to be okay?
how many more? How many?
I think he's
How
going
many
to be
more
good.
years do you think he has to play that way though?
Well, Najee, he has a young team. We just spoke about that. You could be old, but if you got a bunch of youth around you, that's it's the best situation you could be in. Now, if he got a bunch of antiques around him, that's a different now. Because you got to play harder because of the people that's on your squad. But if a bunch of young people that's going to pull that load, it's the best situation you could be in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll pretty much wrap up this live stream, man. We've had a lot of good topic engagement, and I think it was very fruitful today that we had some conversations about the Lakers organization, about this game. It looks like the Thunder is going to be able to celebrate their little homecoming trophy. I don't see Indiana changing anything in the next 8+ minutes. But however, we'll talk about that in our next show, and we'll recap this game to see where Indiana went, south, and to be able to keep up with this game. And we'll cover from that point on. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to us. Hit that like button and that little notification button, because you will get the notifications as soon as we upload new content to YouTube. And we have content on YouTube, we have content on Facebook, we have content on Instagram, and our website is www.dcstewartpodcast.com. Once again, www.dcstewartpodcast.com. We have a lot of good content over there, videos, and a bunch of other take advantage of over at the website. We're gonna have some gear coming out really soon, so stay tuned for that. And we're gonna be having that in our shop on YouTube and our website. So just stay tuned and be on the lookout for that. And I'm very thankful that you've visited us today on YouTube and on Facebook. We appreciate it. Me and my kinfolk, we always appreciate when y'all stop by and want to holler at us and listen to what we got to say, because we're going to tell you like it is. We're going to tell you raw, and we're going to tell you the real deal. And we don't cut no corners with all of that. So I'll go ahead and have Isaiah close this thing
I
out. And
definitely ain't gonna cut no corners with you
you're not going to cut no corners with me for this game,
Hey, man.
correct?
Yeah,
at all.
me and
So
Najee
close it out
predicted
Okay,
for
this
us,
see
game
a
was going
Isaiah.
to be
21,
yeah,
21.
21.
You said a 21
Excuse
point
me, this
lead
is
will
a
seal it, right?
shellacking. This is a shellacking,
Mm-hmm.
but let's close it out. Well, thanks to everybody for watching the show. I want to send a special shout out to our colleague and time, Deion Sanders. They say he was under the weather, a couple health issues and a couple scares. What they say, he was in the hospital. We want special prayers out to him. You guys continue this and tell your friends and your family that we're having a good time and we love it in what we're doing. So, guys, enjoy your weekend and we'll be speaking to you. Yeah.
Absolutely. How about you, Najee, closing us out?
You know how I said every time, peace and blessings. Love God, because He's definitely gonna love you. And DC, stop playing with me, man. I told you was gonna take this. I told you was gonna take it. You want to go against me and be your own man,
Come
but you
on
gotta listen
now.
to the man. You gotta listen to the man.
Well, I'm learning from the best,
Respectfully.
because you one of the best. So what can I say for that? I can't say anything more than that. That you are the best when it comes to basketball, minds, and just overall sports, because you know all sports, not just basketball. I don't want people to think that you're just an expert in basketball. You can tell us pretty much about anything when it comes to the major sports in this country, in the United States of America. So once again, my name is Derek Stewart, along with my kinfolk Isaiah and Najee. We're going to close this thing out. Make sure you take care of yourself first before you try to take care of others, and take care of, and peace, love, and prosperity. Take it easy.